Hello, my name is Leonie and I'm from Canada and I'm 20 years old. Today I'm going to tell you about my relationship with my mom, which has been pretty rocky and rough in the past year. And um, we recently got more along, and it's gotten a lot better over the past month through mindfulness, actually. So every time I would see my mom, like in the past following months, I would get always angry at anything she would say. I would get frustrated. I was very mad at her for many reasons of the past, and anything she would say would kind of make that wound bleed a little more, and that was a reason for me to just explode. So every time we would talk to each other, which was not often, we would end up screaming at each other. Like it would be a lot of conflict. Um, and anything she could say, I was like, that's offensive. Don't say that. I don't like it. I get frustrated. I would never want to hang out with her. And it was really hard for me to even go to her house for like 10 minutes without getting out of there, either screaming or inside of me feeling very disappointed, feeling mad, angry by anything she had said or implied. At this point, I was like trying to read what she would imply when she was saying anything. Um, and so, what I tried to do at first um, was just to be mindful of the feelings I was feeling when I was with her. Um, so when I would go to her house for like 5 minutes, it was a 5 minutes of like, okay, before getting in, I would tell myself, let's be mindful here. I have my object, whatever it is, and I'm going to stick with it. And this came from understanding that she was acting out from her bad nature a lot and from the pressure that was inside, which made her say and do things that were hurtful sometimes. And of course, me understanding that my reactions is just my bad nature interacting with her bad nature. And it was just kind of a bad nature fight. Like me and my mom weren't even in it at some point. And so from that understanding, I tried to go into the relationship and talk to her with just a bit more mindfulness. It started with probably 5 seconds of mindfulness, and then it was gone, and I was back into the bad nature and just like completely disconnected from my object and just screaming at her and going off at anything she would say. And I would leave again. And then after that, I was like, okay, let's reflect. Like, how was my little mindfulness moment with my mom? And then I could see immediately, like, just from how I was feeling leaving her place, that the bad nature had taken over completely. And I had not even realized it until I was gone because I was so deep in it. And every time that did happen, I felt a pull to kind of um, like a pull to aversion and kind of blame myself for leaving awareness and then letting myself scream and go crazy over her. And and so at that point, I would simply observe the aversion and be like, okay, the bad nature is really acting up inside of me right now, and it's using all of the situation even afterwards to pull up negative energy. So I would kind of just know that, and it helped me create a distance to understand that I'm not the one that is judging what just happened. My bad nature is, which helped me eventually not have any judgment. So I would go there to my mom's. um, I would try to be mindful. I would kind of lose the mindfulness for a second. Uh, and just a split second would allow the bad nature to come raging up again. Then we would fight. I would leave, but at least there was no frustration. I was like, okay, I know what I know what happened. I know it's just the bad nature doing bad nature's things, and I have no control over it for now. So that's okay. Like, at least now, like, there's no aversion. I can see that. So it's getting slowly better. Um, So I kept going back slowly and slowly, and there was a lot of frustration still, a lot of like resentment over what she had done. And as I kept implementing this idea that even what she had done in the past was her bad nature acting up in the present as well, but in the past, um, I felt myself starting to understand her more because I could see, like, when I'm screaming at her, I know it's my bad nature. I know what a bad nature can do. And I was slowly starting to forgive her. And and so as I was coming back to her house more and more, and there was this aspect of me being more understanding, um, I would get more moments of mindfulness, and I could observe the pull to react a little bit more. So just like this gap of mindfulness that was at the beginning, like very small, it was a few seconds, and then it would be like a few minutes. And within a few minutes, I could be like, okay, she said something and it's really making my blood boil. And I just know it for the moment. Let's try to hold on to this and not give into the reaction right away. Um, so that's what I did slowly, like just trying to observe. The reaction was still like, I still wanted to react really bad. I still wanted to scream at her. I felt my whole body getting tensed up. I felt kind of like the symptoms of the bad nature, like slowly creeping in. I was like, okay, you're there. I know the bad is there. The bad is really here right now. And I can almost like see what's gonna happen if I give in. I can see the bad in her by the comment she just made, and like my bad is just reacting. And so I kept knowing that, and eventually I could like not react just by keeping the mindfulness. And then I would leave, and I would still leave the place completely tensed up, not feeling good, feeling super frustrated. But I was like, okay, we're making progress. Like today, I didn't react to what she said, because of her bad nature. So I knew I was kind of gaining a bit more field with the good nature. And I kept coming back until at some point it was full mindfulness. And even today, like I can tell you when I go see my mom, she still says some things sometimes, but it's more rare. And I think a reason for that is I come in so mindful. I come in with good energy, with a lot of forgiveness, because I understand why she did what she did. And so there's so much compassion and love that I come in I come in only with the good and not the bad. And it's almost as if she feels it and she doesn't make as many comments anymore. She's not being, she used to make some comments that were rude or whatever, judging. I don't hear about those anymore. There's less tension between us. And I feel like just because I kind of learned to deal with my own bad and learned to deal with my reactions inside first, that spread to her. And probably with her not even knowing it, when she's with me now, there's like not as much bad anymore coming from her, and she's more in her good. And um, I can feel the good in her more and more every day that I go visit than I used to. And it really just started with me, and I didn't want to accept it at first. I remember I would meditate on my mom, and I knew like I was just in this mentality that she was the problem. And I feel like now the problem is fixed and she didn't do a thing. Like, and not in the way that like I did all the doing, but more of like I um, decided to deal with my own bad first instead of pointing fingers at other people. Um, Instead of the bad pointing fingers at the bad, I was like, let's just stop this little war that's going on and be mindful of what's going on inside. And then I could realize everything in all the ways that the bad was creeping in. And now it's not creeping in anymore. And if it does, I'm just aware of it. And it's much, much easier after practice to simply observe the bad, observe how it's showing up. And my relationship with my mom is better than it's ever been before, which feels so, so good. And yeah, that would be my story. I don't have much else to share. Thank you.